I'm sitting at the bottom of a grand hierarchy of fact. In fact, I'm lying there. I'm quite content with where I am. I can close my eyes and drift away from the pressures of knowledge and problems and thought. I can lie here rooted at the bottom of life with experience. I can lie here beneath the trees with their leaves blowing in a subtle wind that can never bring me any problems. I can lie here and be content. I can lie, and lie, and lie. I know I'm lying to myself when I lie down here. It's a sweet kind of lying that frees me from the responsibility of knowledge. Here with my eyes closed, I'm blind. Intellectually blind, whether it be from my sometimes stilted expectations of this great human race, or from the mere lack of attention after it seems so bright and harsh a truth to bear witness, or from the blindsiding social shrouds surrounding these facts which, in one moment, seem so completely obvious what ought to be, and in the next spin to reveal a dark, subtle undercurrent. I don't know. I do know, however, that I can inquire. I can reach a world of insight and capture those external truths with the net of inward action, and by doing so reach upward and grasp enlightenment through the dangling chains of the sociological spirit.
Hey, what are you doing outside? It's like 40 degrees.
I'd rather be out here than in Laws. Did you know that Hawthorne has real desk chairs? We have wooden chairs, and our lounge doesn't even have a TV. I'd rather be out here than there.
Hey, well, my Keurig broke, so I'm gonna go get Starbucks. See ya.
Did you know about 18% of Boone County is living under the poverty line?
I didn't know that. Who are you?
I'm the ghost of social inequality, and as you can probably assume from my name, I'm here to open your eyes to social inequalities around you. As I was saying, about a fifth of the members of Columbia live in poverty. The average family's income is only around $25,124. Do you know how much you spend for tuition every year?
Around 22,000, not including room and board.
Do you see this issue at hand? Let's take a little trip. Around 9,500 residents of Boone County receive food stamps every year, and this is government housing just miles away from campus, and you still feel the need to complain about where you live.
I don't really see what the big deal is. Some people are rich, some people are poor. That's just the way it is now.
Although I won't disagree with you that having all of us being on an even playing field might be wishful thinking, we need to be aware of our shrinking middle class, and that Columbia perfectly exemplifies this. We have our rich students at Missouri right next to these projects. As you become aware of the disparities in the Columbia area, you also need to become aware of the system that you're in that just pacifies these issues.
I guess I really never thought about people outside of the community of Mizzou. What can I even do with this knowledge?
You need to learn from it, and next time when you think about complaining about a building with air conditioning, heating, and a bed that you're able to afford, I want you to mentally return to North Columbia and realize that you are very privileged. So this is where I leave you, but I urge you to mentally return to North Columbia often and remember you live a charmed life.
I really don't understand why my teacher's having me read this. Gender seems to have no relevance at all.
Are you sure about that? Let's talk to a couple students and see what they think. Hannah, in class, do you feel more likely to phrase comments in a hesitant manner?
Yeah,
Why?
because I am not always sure of my answer and I'm afraid of what other people will think of my answer.
As though when you make comments, they're not really credited or remembered by the group?
Yeah, usually I feel like I just say something in class and then they move on.
Tanner, when you're in class, do you feel likely to phrase your comments in a hesitant manner?
No.
Why not?
Usually if I'm attempting to actually participate, I'm usually pretty confident in it.
Do you feel like your comments are credited and remembered by the group?
Yeah. I feel like if someone's hiding behind their answer with those because sort of, they're not really going to be remembered because it's not a very solid statement. But if I'm stating it in a confident manner, then I feel like people would remember it.
After talking to Tanner and Hannah, do you think you have to change your opinion on gender inequality?
I hadn't really thought about it before, but now that I've heard them, I definitely changed my perceptions.
Not everyone sees the wrong in these situations, but I challenge you to act against gender inequality and to be dissatisfied until females who are no longer interrupted when speaking, and until commentary, whether hesitant or confident, is regarded with attentiveness. As Martin Luther King Jr. Jr. would say, "Let us be dissatisfied until every man will sit under his own vine and fig tree, and none shall be afraid."
One Mizzou advocates education, programming, and the exchange of dialogue facilitated by our student organizations and campus resources. One Mizzou will challenge students, faculty, and staff to recognize and incorporate diverse voices and perspectives in every aspect of campus life. How can anyone say there is still inequality? Anybody could go to college here if they wanted to. Hell, even if people are lazy enough to not go to college, America will still pave their way.
Do you really think that anybody could go to college?
Yeah, affirmative action. If you're black, they practically beg you to go here.
According to the university, nearly 80% of the school is white. Only 7% is African American, and 3% is Hispanic.
So that's just because African American and Hispanic students can't keep up their grades.
Well, perhaps you could say that, but let's look at why.
Today, public schools are just as segregated, if not more than they were in the 1960s. The urban school districts responsible for educating a large portion of America's minority children today are collapsing. Funding is being cut, teachers are losing resources, and class sizes are becoming too large for students to receive proper attention. According to the National Assessment of Educational Progress, in 2012, African American and Hispanic students on average trailed behind white students by more than 20 test points. Although many of these schools receive high ratings from the Education Department, some of them have remediation rates above 50%, meaning that more than 50% of their students aren't ready for college.
But what about the ones that do get to go to college?
Although enrollment at Mizzou is at 7% for African Americans and 3% for Latinos, the percentage of those students who will actually receive a degree is much lower. Why? Look at the resources around you.
Nearly 80% of the total MU full-time faculty is white. Studies show that students are more likely to relate to professors that share the same race as they do. And although Mizzou offers programs for African American, Asian, and Latino students, there are still instances in which these students are discriminated against or not included in aspects of campus life. Just 2 years ago, 2 white male students were arrested for dropping cotton balls in front of the Gaines Oldham Black Culture Center on campus.
I didn't know that.
As W.B. Du Bois would say, the students of color on this campus have a double consciousness. They are aware that they are part of the university, but they are also aware that, in some way or another, they don't belong. This makes it much more difficult for them to be successful in the American system of higher education.
The world isn't quite what I thought it was like. The view is much loftier up here. I can see better the elements that have surrounded me all along start to coalesce. If I can get more people to start thinking about these things, it might not be so tolerable.